nuts, and low-fat dairy. It was followed by the pescatarian diet and the Mediterranean diet. The job market for people graduating from college next month is much different than it's been over the last few years. How career experts say you should be navigating this.
Well, now we want to shift to weather. 517 on this Thursday afternoon. You're getting a gorgeous view over Pine Island Road and Nicholas Parkway right here in Cape Coral. What you can also see pretty clearly are those clouds. Shari, you want to try it again? What kind of clouds are these?
Oh man, now you're going to embarrass me.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, okay, those definitely are looking like the cumulus clouds to me.
That's right.
That's
right. In this case, these are towering cumulus. So when you look farther inland, that's where we have those storms developing. But here's another perspective, looking northward and closer toward the coast here in downtown Fort Myers. We don't have those kinds of clouds. We're not worried about the development. So yet again, since Monday, our coastal communities, basically Charlotte, Lee, Collier, staying dry, but farther inland to the east of I-75, that's where we do have some of those storms developing, which I'll show you here in the next few seconds. Right now, let's talk about temperatures, then we'll dive into where the wet weather is. We're at 88 degrees. Dew point, the measure of moisture in the air, that's going up. Look at that breeze, pumping in that moisture off the Gulf. So that's contributing to a heat index. Right now in downtown Fort Myers, it's feeling like 92. Golden Gate feeling more like 96 degrees at this hour. Even up in Punta Gorda and Naples, that heat index still at 94. So as you head out this evening, please still mind that heat and do be sure to stay hydrated. So like yesterday, the concentration of strong and severe weather will stay away from southwest Florida, mainly affecting our friends here along the East Coast back into central Florida. But for us, quiet conditions, especially along the coastline farther inland. It's where we do have some of those thunderstorms, but thankfully they continue to show signs of weakening as well. This here in Glades County, of course, that's really been a focal point here the last couple of days, but you can see some of that light to moderate rain right here over Palmdale as that storm kind of fizzles out. Meanwhile, we look back toward Muse and right on the Charlotte County line. That heavier downpour also showing signs of weakening for the eastern side of Babcock Ranch Preserve. So helping you plan out your evening, best chance for those isolated showers and storms, same spot where they have been, mainly in Hendry and Glades this evening. Otherwise, partly cloudy skies are expected. Temperatures staying warm until the sun sets, but even then, look at that. They hold on. 10 and 11 o'clock, still looking for those temperatures around 80 degrees. And you're going to be feeling that extra moisture, those higher temperatures tomorrow as well. With those dew points continuing to go up, with that moisture continuing to pump off the Gulf, tomorrow morning is going to be a rather humid start. So for this evening, overnight tonight, quiet conditions. We'll start off with a partly cloudy sky. Could see a couple of rain showers move through overnight. So if you are traveling, say, during the dark time, then we're going to be dealing with a couple of those downpours out there. But by 7 a.m., I'm optimistic that we'll see most of that wet weather clearing out. Mix of clouds and sun on the way. Again, that humidity is definitely going to be present through the day on Friday. Friday overall, I'm expecting to be a bit cloudier. Scattered rain forecast, especially for the afternoon and evening. So later in the night, that's when we will start to see some of those showers and storms for our coastal communities as that moisture starts to build in. So tomorrow's kind of a change up from what we have been experiencing. Heads up there. Otherwise, Saturday, quiet conditions. Saturday, definitely the better of the 2 weekend days for outdoor plans. Only isolated rain in my forecast. Looking ahead to those rain chances this week. So Saturday's rain chances 30% up to 60% for your Sunday. Highs tomorrow climbing toward 90 degrees. And then with those higher rain chances on Sunday, that's a cold front coming through. Behind it, we'll feel respite Monday and Tuesday with some cooler temperatures and lower dew points.
Economy has slowed down a lot from January to March. Government numbers out today show an annual pace of just 1.1%. This follows higher interest rates and reduced inventory from businesses. However, consumer spending numbers are staying resilient, growing at a yearly pace of 3.7%. Gap says today it plans to lay off 1,800 workers. That's more than 3 times the amount the company originally announced in September. This will mainly affect those who work at Gap's headquarters and regional store leaders. Gap says the cuts are part of an effort to reduce cost and streamline operations. The number of people filing for unemployment fell last week. The Labor Department reporting today that claims went down by 16,000. The 4-week average also fell by 6,000. The unemployment rate last month came in at 3.5%. Students about to graduate from college will be entering a very different job market than what we've been seeing over the last couple of years. We've gone from hiring booms to waves of layoffs. Government numbers show that as of February, the unemployment rate for adults ages 20 to 24 was 4.6%. That's double the rate from December of 2021. But job experts we spoke with say even if it's not exactly what you want to do, there's always someone hiring. So try and look for jobs that would build the skills you need for when that perfect job does open up.
No one expects you to stay someplace for 10 years anymore. Those days are gone. But to get started is to get started in the learning, the growing, the connecting, the maturing, all the stuff that happens in your 20s. So don't be afraid to take something that you say, wow, I never thought I'd be doing this kind of a job.
Some companies may also offer a delayed start date or even help with tuition to attend grad school first. If that was something you were planning to do anyway, she says that can be a good option. But there are some things to consider.
Are you then beholden to go work for them because they did? I think you've got to ask a lot of questions. Those sort of things usually come with some handcuffs. And so you have to really understand, was I going to do it anyway? Is it just pushing it up a little bit and getting it out of the way? Is this a company that I really want to work for and I want to commit to? Or am I better off going out and looking around a little bit?
Interviewing for a job can also take a lot of patience. Data from Robert Half shows it takes companies an average of 5 weeks for entry-level hires with about 4 interviews. Pending home sales are down for the first time since November. The new numbers out today from the National Association of Realtors show those sales dropped by 5.2% from February to March. Pending sales typically mean a contract has been signed to buy a home, but the final sale didn't happen yet. The association says this may be the result of less inventory and buyer uncertainty about the financial industry because of bank failures. Year over year, pending home sales fell by 23%.
Well, a bill addressing immigration in the state of Florida is headed for a big vote tomorrow.
Yeah, and while it doesn't include everything the governor wanted, Democrats are still calling it inhumane. We're going to break it down for you next. Katie?
And looking ahead to your weekend weather, heads up. Sunday looking like the wetter of the 2 weekend days as a cold front moves through. My advice, make some indoor plans just in case. We'll talk more about that in your 7-day forecast next.
Well, as Disney files to sue Florida's top leader, he's speaking out why Governor Ron DeSantis says the company is pushing back on accountability.
Live from Southwest Florida, you're watching Fox 4 News at 5.
Governor Ron DeSantis says the lawsuit filed by Disney is political and without merit. Thanks for trusting us here in Fox 4 News at 5. I'm Shari Armstrong.
And I'm Nadine Yanis. So the governor addressing this controversy from more than 6,000 miles away abroad in Israel tonight. Fox 4 Investigates Ryan Kruger joining us live with the governor's response, and we knew it was coming, Ryan.
Yeah, the Republican governor is in the middle of that international tour with a stop in Israel, as you mentioned, but he couldn't avoid the controversies back home in the Sunshine State. DeSantis dismissed that lawsuit filed by Disney as being politically motivated. He says the law is on his side. Now, yesterday, Disney sued DeSantis and the Florida state, alleging that the governor is harming the company's business operations and what they call a targeted campaign of government retaliation. DeSantis said today Disney has gotten away with too much for too long.
They're upset because they're actually having to live by the same rules as everybody else. They don't want to have to pay the same taxes as everybody else.
Fellow Republicans and possible presidential rivals are going on the offensive right now against DeSantis, and leaders in other states are reaching out to Disney, trying to get them to relocate to their states. All of this while, of course, DeSantis is expected to announce a run for presidency in the coming weeks or months. Why some experts believe this ongoing fight with Disney is hurting DeSantis' chances as a national candidate. That story coming up tonight on Fox 4 News at 6. Ryan Kruger, Fox 4 Investigates.
We will see you at 6 for that. In the meantime, the governor is making headlines in Israel with criticism growing on his ongoing trip overseas, as it is growing here in Florida. So we are talking aerospace partnerships in Japan, announcing a hydrogen facility in South Korea and in Israel. DeSantis also delivered a keynote speech. He's also signing a bill to fight anti-Semitism, making it illegal to project images on buildings without an owner's consent. Now, while he continues his trade mission, some on both sides of the aisle back home here in Florida are not happy about this trip.
You have great conservative bills dying left and right. And as a member of the state party, I'm just left scratching my head why the governor would be in Japan and Israel.
So many speculate that the trade mission is an attempt to strengthen a potential White House run here. Some suggest an announcement will come in May, but others say DeSantis may now hold back if support for former President Trump continues to grow.
The immigration reform the governor wanted, not exactly what he's going to get. After spending hours on the bill today, senators are now ready to vote on a watered-down version tomorrow. So it won't strip DACA recipients of access to in-state tuition. It also doesn't go as far on E-Verify employment verification. Governor DeSantis wanted blanket enforcement, but he might have to settle for only private businesses with 25 or more employees. The bill also invalidates out-of-state driver's licenses for undocumented people, and it increases penalties for those knowingly transporting or hiring those who are undocumented. Republicans call it vital reform, but Democrats say it's inhumane.
We keep on creating incentives for people to come across illegally, and until the states push back, which is what we're doing now, the federal government will never act. We're trying to force them to act.
There is no one in here that's saying that we shouldn't do anything with immigration, but it's comprehensive immigration reform that we need to be working on. How can we do that together as Democrats and Republicans?
Now, the Senate's GOP supermajority is expected to approve the bill tomorrow. Again, the House will then likely take it up next week. If they too pass the bill without changes, it will head to Governor Ron DeSantis' desk, and it is presumed that he'll sign it. Michelle?
A third school district has filed suit against Norfolk Southern in the aftermath of February's toxic train derailment. All three lawsuits accuse the company of negligence in exposing people to toxic chemicals. And for local residents, the future is a constant worry. It's been nearly 3 months since a Norfolk Southern train derailed in East Palestine, Ohio. The huge black plume of smoke from the controlled burn of toxic chemicals is gone, but the fears about whether it's safe to live here remain.
I love this home, but you can't get attached to it.
3 generations of Christina Ferguson's family have lived in this 1930s duplex in East Palestine. Now she's staying with her parents in a condominium the railroad rented 10 miles away. To return, she wants independent testing and a thorough cleaning of their home. But she's not sure her family will ever feel safe in their home again.
I just keep thinking, well, where am I going to be? Is anybody even going to still be trying to help us? What's the next step? Just knock on the door and say, hey, you have to be out tomorrow.
About half of East Palestine's 5,000 residents evacuated when officials decided to burn the vinyl chloride from 5 tanker cars to prevent an explosion. Most residents have returned, but many complain of illness and worry about contamination. Others, like Jeff Drummond, aren't allowed to return because of the continued cleanup near their homes. He's living alone in a tiny room in a roadside motel now. The retired truck driver and Gulf War veteran misses mowing his lawn and spending time in his yard.
I can't do my own cooking. I have to go out and do my own laundry. I have a washer and dryer at home that I can't use. You know, I have nothing here basically. Just a room.
Norfolk Southern is excavating thousands of tons of contaminated soil. The Environmental Protection Agency expects that to take another 2 to 3 months. Toxic chemicals must be removed from 2 creeks, which could take even longer. In the meantime, displaced residents wait to see what the future holds.
We'll go back if we can. Absolutely. And if we can't, I can accept that too, because I'm like Chrissy. I pray all the time, and I tell God, you know, whatever you have for me, I can do for you.
On the heels of a CNN town hall, Norfolk Southern CEO Alan Shaw announced the rail company would work with the community to address concerns about losses in home values, although specific details of a plan have not yet been made public. Mara Sirianni, Scripps News, Atlanta.
Harnessing the power of the ocean to fight climate change, how the new technology that acts as a filter for the ocean works, and the plans to expand it. Most of us know that terrifying feeling of getting behind the wheel of a car for our first driver's test. For any teenager, and especially their parents, it's not an easy adjustment. But there are specific challenges for drivers with autism. Jessie Cohen shows us how VR is helping to change that.
Let's get our simulator on.
Kids these days are no stranger to technology.
And centered on the middle.
It's been a part of their lives since they were born.
Ready? Go.
So why not use that technology as an advantage in learning?
This one is car control.
Well, that's what staff at Nicholas Children's Hospital in Miami are doing.
There are a lot of different things that virtual reality and immersive technologies can do. And we're just starting, I think, to hit the tip of the iceberg with what we can really see happening there within that clinical space.
Dr. Christina Potter is the hospital's supervisor of IT digital technologies.
Great job, Natalia.
She and her team are using research grants to study the effects of virtual reality on patients with autism spectrum disorder.
Across the board, we've seen between a 30 and 60% reduction in our patients, just in their levels of anxiety and in their perceived levels of pain.
So here she'll get up to highway speed. The computer says brake, and she brakes, and it measures how much she didn't skid forward.
Their newest program is DRIVE, which stands for Driving Improvements Through Virtual Reality Experience. And Natalia Guerra is currently a student in the program.
I'm 21 right now. I'm currently in college.
She's watched her friends and family get their licenses, and now she's ready for her time.
Hopefully I could pull through.
They start inside the classroom with her glasses on, hands on the wheel, and her foot pressing the pedal. Students like Natalia become immersed in real driving scenarios.
It's really good to practice at without having to worry about, getting injured or anything. I have difficulties when it comes to the strength of the pedal and the speed. This is a great opportunity to test it out.
And they don't slide into the driver's seat of a moving vehicle until the VR experience has fully prepared them.
It's like an intermittent space where they can come, they can practice, they can make errors.
Her mom, Maggie Guerra, tells us she didn't know if she'd ever see the opportunity for her daughter to get her license.
On my part, I'm eternally grateful, and we need more of these. Eternally grateful, because that is the key to her independence.
Driving is kind of a big deal, and it's about independence, it's about self-confidence, it's about helping them further their educations, further their career goals, and really further their progression as adults.
Dr. David So is the hospital's senior vice president for digital and information systems. He feels there are misconceptions about autism.
What people perhaps don't realize is that kids who are on the spectrum, it's not that they cannot learn. They process information differently. It takes longer time for them to learn.
They otherwise have the capacity, the learning ability, the motor functionality to drive and to drive very well, but they have such heightened levels of anxiety that they don't even want to try.
And I always let them know that if they start feeling any type of discomfort, to let me know.
Blanca Diaz, the lead instructor, has seen those anxious responses drastically change over time with her students.
We've noticed just like their self-confidence, their motivation, they look forward to their future.
Research at Children's Hospital of Philadelphia found that compared to non-autistic drivers, drivers with autism were estimated to have fewer crashes, tickets, and suspended licenses. But currently, only 1/3 of autistic individuals without intellectual disability obtain a driver's license by age 21. Those at Nicholas Children's want to change those numbers and see this program in more cities.
On the second one, 86.8%. Beautiful. We'll just work on smoothing it out.
Their goal is to change the stigma and give those with ASD the confidence to get out on the road.
So proud of you.
Jessie Cohen, Scripps News, Miami.
And coming up tonight here on Fox 4 News at 6, the final two candidates for Collier County's new superintendent position had another full day of interviews.
And one started as a teaching assistant in Collier County, the other with a military background and traditional conservative views. Fox 4 speaking with both candidates on why they think they're the best for the position. Katie.
Once again, the concentration of showers and storms this evening in Glades and Hendry counties. The severe threats staying off toward our north and east. We'll talk more about more widespread rainfall that could impact plans heading into the weekend next.
All right, if you're looking for plans, not this weekend, but next weekend for Cinco de Mayo, we have plans safe for the whole family. So next Friday, the Lee County Sheriff's Office is hosting a fiesta at the Gulf Coast Town Center, and it's happening from 5:30 to 8:30.
They tell us that we'll have live performances, some raffles, some arts and crafts for the kids, and much more. And you can even get a frozen mocktail or your face painted in exchange for a canned good donation, helping you plan ahead. Fox 4 always looking out for you there.
A family-friendly event for Cinco de Mayo. Personally, I'll be over some chips and salsa and margaritas probably somewhere as you're getting a live look from the Bayfront Inn as we shift to weather, Shari.
I think a lot of people are already doing that here as we take a look at our live camera from the Bayfront Inn in Naples facing inland. And Katie, I know you're keeping a close eye on radar, but we're not going to see a lot of those impacts in our Southwest Florida area. Is that correct?
That's right. So across Charlotte, across downtown Fort Myers, across Lee County, Naples, Collier County, where we were just looking, quiet conditions are expected. It's farther inland that we will be facing the potential for those downpours, and where we have them setting up shop currently in Glades and Hendry. Same spots that have been hit the last several days are the same spots that are dealing with that wet weather this evening. Meanwhile, I just wanted to point out that severe thunderstorm watch box well off toward our north and east. So from the east coast stretching up into parts of central and north Florida, that's where the concentration of severe weather will be away from our viewing area. Now, that's not to say we won't have some big downpours here in parts of Glades County. Look at this particular cell. So Palmdale, this little shower has dissipated. This is what I'm more interested in. So very heavy rainfall traveling northward, heading up toward Palmdale. I guarantee that cell's going to be producing lightning here in short order. There we go. It is starting to now. So as it crosses over 78, heads up toward the Palmdale area, just get ready. That is producing some very heavy rainfall. Also, LaBelle does look like you're going to be hit again by this little shower, this little downpour just to the east of Alva, as it's basically affecting 78 as well as State Road 80. And back into Hendry County now, monitoring this particular storm. The worst of it, the biggest concentration to the east of Montura, but Montura, you are starting to see some of that light rain begin to fall. So we're going to be watching that very closely as these showers and storms generally are working their way from the south toward the north. A live look, though, at quiet conditions here from the Luminary Hotel in downtown Fort Myers. We have some high, thin cirrus clouds outside, and that's about it. That's the case for most of our coastal communities this evening. Bit breezy at times, but hey, that breeze at least helping to make it feel a little bit more comfortable. That humidity, it's on. So that dew point, the measure of moisture in the air, it's just shy of 70 degrees because of it. Even at this hour, still feeling more like 92. So please mind that heat. Temperatures themselves overall well above average today. 71 this morning, up to 90 this afternoon. Not quite in record territory, but still running above average. So helping you plan out your evening and tomorrow, hour by hour. Best chance for those showers and storms will remain focused inland, Glades into Hendry counties. And then overnight tonight, we'll actually see the chance for a couple of showers pushing through. So don't be surprised if you are up between 3 to 4 a.m., maybe heading off to work or you have to hit the road. We will be dealing with some isolated rain showers pushing through southwest Florida. Tomorrow morning, pretty quiet start, but for your Friday, we will be seeing a better chance for those scattered showers and storms across the area, and that's because of a bit of a wind shift. So heads up, there could be some downpours out there for your Friday evening. No reason to cancel plans, but just make sure you have that rain gear ready to go. Temperatures are going to stay hot. 90 degrees is where we're headed for tomorrow afternoon. Backing down your rain chances to 30% on your Saturday. Then for your Sunday, storms are likely. Also, it's going to be very windy on Sunday as a cold front comes through.
The U.S. and Mexico share diplomatic and cultural ties, but the March kidnappings of 4 Americans by a Mexican cartel show the dangers of this cross-border relationship. The reach of the cartels may be beyond the border. John Moan shows us the steps the U.S. is taking to deal with it.
A nearly 2,000-mile border separates Mexico and the U.S., but a bilateral relationship unites the countries. Mexico is a top travel destination for Americans and our second biggest trade partner, according to the U.S. State Department.
We trade $1.5 million a minute with Mexico.
But the relationship has a cartel cloud lingering over it. Mexico's cartel activity has been on the rise since the 2000s, but only recently have U.S. lawmakers had the groups in their crosshairs.
We're going to designate these groups and others, if appropriate, foreign terrorist organizations under U.S. law.
The increased spotlight came on the heels of an incident resulting in the deaths of 2 Americans in Mexico. The American response gained a harsh reaction from Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador, calling Mexico safer than the U.S. But the numbers don't support his claim. 2020 data from the Mexican government had Mexico's murder rate 4 times higher than that of the United States. And the friction came only months after Obrador met with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and President Biden, vowing to work together to curb drug activity and violence. But what's powering the growth of Mexican cartels? Experts say financially the drug trade as they meet the supply of America's drug demands.
The ability of the cartels to get to the point that they're at today is really because of the amount of drugs that we consume here in the United States.
Jerry Robinette, a retired special agent for Homeland Security investigations, says the cartels fostered corruption by bribing Mexican police, judges, and elected officials.
There used to be a time when the cartels had to work with the law enforcement, had to coordinate with law enforcement, had to get permission, had to have some sort of coordination. It's just the opposite. Now the governments have to coordinate with these cartels as to what they can or can't do in this region.
And the growth of the organizations has made its way into the United States. A 2020 DEA map shows where different Mexican cartels have influence on American soil.
We are literally under siege. This is an incredibly dynamic, fluid, and terrifying situation the United States is in. And I mean across the United States, not any particular state.
Sheriff Kieran Donahue leads the Canyon County Sheriff's Department in Idaho. He says his small Idaho jurisdiction is seeing cartel chaos.
And we're dealing with the overdose deaths. We're dealing with the violence that the drug trade promotes and creates. And we're dealing with the cartels themselves, the stash houses, the laundering of money through different businesses.
Many of those deaths, the result of cartel-produced fentanyl. Synthetic drugs are made by so-called cooks in Mexico, then smuggled into the U.S., where American-based cartel groups proceed to distribute to big cities and rural towns.
My local team just took off last week 19,900 fentanyl pills in one search warrant and 3.5 pounds of methamphetamine. That's one guy, one gang member.
And the issue is exacerbated by breaches along the northern border.
What we're also seeing, and what's become incredibly significant, and you're seeing it in media stories most recently, is our northern border. The longest border in the world is our northern border with Canada. Incredibly porous. We do not have the resources. They do not have the resources.
The sheriff suggests responding with military-style action.
These are powerful, powerful people, and they have military intelligence, they have military weapons, they have military equipment. They operate as a paramilitary organization.
That rhetoric is gaining support. Last March, the Drug Cartel Terrorist Designation Act was introduced. It was referred to the Committee on Foreign Relations, and Senator Lindsey Graham sponsored the Narcos Act, which was referred to the Select Committee on Intelligence.
We're going to introduce an authorization to use military force where the United States military can go in and destroy these labs and destroy these networks if possible.
Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador has dismissed the calls by U.S. lawmakers, saying, quote, "We are not going to permit any foreign government to intervene in our territory, much less a foreign government's armed forces," leaving a lot of lingering questions as what was once a problem for our neighbors to the south is now a U.S. problem too. John Moan, Scripps News.
That's going to do it for us today. I'm Michelle London. Fox 4 News at 6 is next.
multiple reports of an unidentified suspect exposing himself to young students going to and from school. Tonight, we're asking deputies about the pattern we're seeing in Golden Gate and what's being done to stop it.
And the DeSantis-Disney debacle reaching the governor on his trip overseas. Fox 4 tonight digging deeper to see if this feud could harm a potential presidential run for DeSantis. And a graveyard of trees, shrubs, and dead debris on Sanibel Island sparking concern during fire season.
The live meeting happening now as the island looks for solutions while Charlotte County residents are planting new trees to make up for what Ian took away.
Live from Southwest Florida, you're watching Fox 4 News at 6.
And thank you for joining us for Fox 4 News at 6 on this Thursday evening. I'm Nadine Yanis.
I'm Chris Earl. The Collier County Sheriff's Office is still looking for the man accused of inappropriately touching himself in front of a child as she was walking to school yesterday.
And this isn't the first time something like this has happened. Deputies say it's actually the second time on the same exact street, happening on Tropicana Boulevard in Golden Gate. And that is where we find Fox 4's Brianna Brownlee joining us live with updates tonight after speaking not only with the sheriff's office, but school officials as well.
And Bri, we understand this is the street where both of these incidents got reported. What can you tell us about this location?
Yes, Chris and Nadine, I want to show you that this isn't just some back street or back road. I want to show you what Tropicana Boulevard looks like. As you can see, that it is out in the open, in the middle of the neighborhood, surrounded by houses. Now, earlier today, when I did speak to people in this neighborhood, they did tell me that it's concerning that the suspects have not been caught.
2 or 3 dozen of kids walk down that school every day.
That is the voice of a neighbor who lives in the area where deputies say 2 students have reported 2 different men exposed themselves as they were walking to school on Tropicana Boulevard, which is about an 8-minute walk to the middle school.
It's very concerning, you know. I don't want my cousins to see that. Because if I ever walk up on them and do it to them, you know, something will happen real bad. Real bad.
The woman did not want to reveal her identity, but says she is concerned, especially with her family members walking to Golden Gate Middle School every day.
Right down this Tropicana line there. All those kids walk down that road.
Wednesday, the Collier County Sheriff's Office released this sketch after a victim described as a child said a man who looked like this approached her on Tropicana Boulevard. And about 2 weeks ago, the department said a teenager described a 5'8" Spanish man with no beard and black hair on a bicycle, asked her if she wanted a bracelet, and then dropped his pants.
This is very concerning, and we work every case the same way as the other case.
Collier County Special Victims Unit Sergeant Stefan Lafarge says he cannot say much about the case because it's still active, but he did say the department has increased patrol in the area.
Recently it just started because there used to be they had a patrol to the school, the middle school down there. I see 3 or 4 police down there.
The department did tell me that no arrests have been made in either case, but they have been receiving tips, and they are asking if you know anything to contact them. I have all this information at fox4now.com. Live from Golden Gate, Brianna Brownlee, Fox 4.
Also, it's developing right now here into the Fox 4 newsroom. A man convicted of killing a Fort Myers police officer wants a new case.
Yeah, these are new court documents that were just filed, and they show that Wisner Desmarais is asking for a new trial because now he says he should have never been allowed to represent himself.
Now, he did fight for this, though, leading up to the trial. His legal team, though, entered the motion for the new trial today. Court documents again say the court should have never let him represent himself. That's his claim.
Yeah, so these documents say that Desmarais heard voices in his head and was still allowed to represent himself through all of this. Now there is a request for a new trial or for Desmarais to be acquitted of these charges all together despite his conviction. It is important to note, as Chris just mentioned, the judge did appoint a standby attorney during this case, at which Desmarais refused to use. Fox 4 will follow through for you when we do get a response from the court after this new filing.
And happening now in Collier County, State Attorney Mara Fox is joining an event designed to honor and remember the victims of crimes. And this is in honor of National Crime Victims Week, which officially ends on Saturday. Tonight's event is about to wrap up. It started back at 4:30.
Yeah, so again, criminal justice and law enforcement agencies in Southwest Florida are all coming together to honor the victims. The state attorney's office, Collier County deputies, as well as the Naples and Marco Island police officers were all on hand for this event. Organizers say the event was about the 4 themes you see here: elevate, engage, effect, and change. Themes officials say will help amplify the voices of survivors and create environments where they can be heard, believed, and supported, as you're getting a live look now. Now, the officer of the victims' crimes did start recognizing this event back in 1981.
I've been talking all throughout the month just how hot it's been, especially in the coastal areas throughout this month of April. Today did not disappoint. Yes, if you were outside for more than 5 minutes, you could feel it right away once again as we get a look from our tower cam.
Yeah, let's go ahead and bring in certified meteorologist Katie Walls, because the last couple of days we've been tracking inland storms. I'm looking at the radar now. Anything popping up?
That's right. So for Glades and Hendry, same spots. Exactly right. Same spots that have been hit Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. This is day number 4 of dealing with those downpours farther inland. But if you are along the coastline, for most outdoor activities, really, from Charlotte County down through Lee, most of Collier County, conditions are beautiful, albeit on the hot and humid side, but it is farther inland where we are dealing with these downpours that could impact some outdoor plans as well as some commutes home. So we are monitoring these stronger cells right here, one bubbling up right over Moorhaven. Whitton Corner, get ready. You have another heading your direction. All of these tracking up toward Lakeport. So Lakeport, you are about to get hit by some heavy rainfall as well as frequent lightning. These thunderstorms are below severe criteria, nonetheless still producing some heavy downpours here across Hendry as well as Glades. Another little cell affecting our friends in LaBelle right now. And as we zoom in a bit, you can see just how heavy that rainfall is in and around 27 and right at that 78 interchange. Farther back toward Alva into LaBelle, it's where we do have that downpour now working its way up toward the north and east. And then we broadened it out and right over Montura, that cell off toward your west that we were tracking on Fox 4 News at 5. That continues to show signs of weakening, basically starting to collapse. So inland storms, the name of the game this evening. Partly cloudy for the rest of us, but we'll all see some storms this weekend. We'll talk about that in the next 10 minutes.
Deputy Christopher Taylor, Charlotte County Sheriff's Office, end of watch, November 22nd, 2022.
You are listening to the moment the State Sheriff's Association paid respects and honored fallen Deputy Christopher Taylor. The ceremony happened earlier this week. Deputy Taylor's family, as well as Sheriff Bill Promell and the Charlotte County Sheriff's Office Honor Guard were there. Deputy Taylor was hit and killed by a suspected drunk driver while conducting a traffic stop on I-75 back in November. Cassandra Smith, the woman charged with killing Deputy Taylor, is due back in court on May 25th. A judge actually recently ruled she is competent to stand trial after her lawyers claim her mental health was deteriorating. Well, developing right now, the Fort Myers Police Department is investigating a shooting that happened last night and that injured one person.
Officers call the incident isolated as detectives are trying to pick up more information as to what led up to it. And the shooting happened on Park Windsor Drive. According to officers, that's just off of Winkler and Metro Parkway. And we're going to keep monitoring the situation to let you know what comes of it.
The days of putting one company on a pedestal with no accountability are over in the state of Florida.
Yeah, the feud between Disney and Governor Ron DeSantis has gone from Florida to Jerusalem tonight as the governor responds to that lawsuit that Disney filed yesterday from Israel. And now fellow Republicans are even attacking the Florida governor tonight.
Fox 4 Investigates Ryan Kruger is here to tell us more about the latest development in this ongoing, lingering battle involving Disney. Ryan.
Yeah, leaders in at least 3 different states are openly telling Disney they'd love for the company to leave Florida. All of this as political pressure mounts on Governor DeSantis.
I don't think the suit has merit. I think it's political.
Governor Ron DeSantis was more than 6,000 miles away from home in Jerusalem, touting U.S.-Israeli relations. But it's the Disney-Florida relations he was answering to Thursday morning.
They don't want to have to pay the same taxes as everybody else.
Some of DeSantis' potential presidential rivals are using the feud to attack the Florida governor, who is expected to run for president.
If Disney would like to move their hundreds of thousands of jobs to South Carolina and bring the billions of dollars with them, I'll let them know. I'll be happy to meet them in South Carolina and introduce them to the governor and the legislature that would welcome it.
It's not just his potential political opponents. A county executive in Hidalgo County, Texas, sent a letter to Disney CEO urging him to relocate. And a Democratic state senator in North Carolina filed the Mickey's Freedom Restoration Act in hopes of bringing Disney to the Tar Heel state.
I think this is a
a negative for the governor, clearly.
Retired FGCU professor Dr. Peter Bergerson believes the fight with Disney is a losing battle.
Why pick on the largest employer in the state? That just doesn't, there's no national gain out of it. There's no political gain out of it, I don't think. And that is a risk that he's taking.
And a new Emerson College poll released Thursday morning finds Trump with a massive 46-point lead over DeSantis. DeSantis, by the way, the only other Republican candidate who is garnering double digits. Ryan Kruger, Fox 4.
And as the battle with Disney intensifies in Florida, the governor, again, he's overseas talking to foreign officials.
But as he spends more time, also those questions grow in the overall campaign for his own future.
The question is that a good strategy or is it not?
Still ahead on Fox 4, why some analysts and lawmakers think the governor may be running out of time.
Plus, the candidates for the open superintendent spot in Collier County speaking with Fox 4 today. You're looking at the final two, why each of them says they're best fit for the job.
And this evening will continue to stay warm and muggy. Partly cloudy skies for most of us, but we are tracking some inland showers and storms in Glades and Hendry. I'll break down where those are headed for you coming up.
Well, as we mentioned, Governor Ron DeSantis' latest stop overseas took him to Israel today, delivering a keynote address, meeting with Israeli leaders, and even signing a bill.
But as the governor makes headlines there, criticism over his global trip growing back here in Florida.
While he continues his trade mission, some lawmakers back here are simply not happy with the moves the governor is making.
Our Capitol reporter Forrest Saunders shows us that Democrats and also some Republicans are taking shots at this world tour.
Good morning. The highlights keep coming as the governor keeps tracking. Talking aerospace partnerships in Japan, announcing a hydrogen facility in South Korea, and in Israel.
And we must reject those who reject Israel's right to exist as a Jewish state. That is anti-Semitism.
DeSantis offered a keynote address, plus signed a bill to fight anti-Semitism, making it illegal to project images on buildings without an owner's consent.
You know, no governor's done more to fight anti-Semitism than Governor DeSantis has. We have the strongest anti-Semitism bill in the country.
A trip abroad getting rave reviews from some Republicans.
Well, it's just certainly not an appropriate time to be taking escapades around the world.
But not all of them. Trump supporter and Lake County GOP Chair Anthony Sabatini saying the governor's absence is being felt as session comes to a close.
You have great conservative bills dying left and right. And as a member of the state party, I'm just left scratching my head why the governor would be in Japan and Israel.
Many speculate the trade mission is an attempt to strengthen a potential White House run, which DeSantis keeps dismissing while on the road.
And if there's any announcements, those will come at the appropriate time. Hello!
Time that could be running out, political experts warn. Each day lost is one less to secure publicity, money, and,
most importantly, people really want him to start punching back at Trump. The question is that a good strategy or is it not?
Former President Trump has locked up many of Florida's GOP congressional endorsements, also the former head of the state party. He also continues to hold a lead over DeSantis in national polling.
He's absolutely imploding, and we're all here to watch it.
Democrats like Senator Jason Pizzo say they're grabbing the popcorn.
I think the biggest fear is going to be from members on the other side of the aisle that he comes back here after a failed attempt for the presidency and comes back scorched earth and angry like a really big brat.
In Collier County, the finalists for the open superintendent position have closed out another day of interviews. Interim Superintendent Leslie Riccardelli and Charles Van Zant each had one-on-one interviews with each school board member today. Fox 4 also speaking with those candidates today, and we asked why each feels that they should get the job.
So Interim Superintendent Dr. Leslie Riccardelli tells us she started as a teaching assistant, has grown with the county, and having that background in education in Collier County is what makes her best suited for the job.
That's the difference, and I respect greatly his service in the military and his service to this country. But I believe that the superintendent of a public school system should have an educational background.
Now, as mentioned, Riccardelli has already been a familiar face in Collier County. She's already serving as the interim superintendent there. The other finalist, Charles Van Zant, also wants to let Collier County parents know about his experience. We just heard a little bit about it there. He has a background in the military.
A more traditional educator and somebody that's a 33-year combat veteran and has been a 14-year school board member and a superintendent from a different county.
Van Zant says his priority is to bring phonics-based reading back into the curriculum, and also called Riccardelli a person who has been, quote, steeped in the education teapot. And the next time people can see these two finalists will be next Wednesday at the school's administrative building in Naples. We also have their resumes and other details about their past and their background on fox4now.com. And taking a look outside, we ran a story a few days ago about the 4-day work week, and I never give it much thought until it's like, Thursday night, and it looks like this outside.
I know.
As we see the bayfront end of Naples.
It's always FOMO when you see actual boats out there. You're like, gosh, I wish I was on the water. As we bring in certified meteorologist Katie Wells, the water anywhere along the coast, really a great place to be tonight.
Absolutely, especially with temperatures staying so toasty. And we have those higher dew points, which are basically exacerbating those temperatures, creating quite the feels-like temperature. Meanwhile, the coast is dry. So if you are heading out maybe for a night on the town in Charlotte County, Lee County, down toward Collier, conditions will continue to stay on the quiet side. But farther inland, I cannot say the same. So Glades County right now, big thunderstorms building here over Moorhaven, now up toward Lakeport. Lakeport, I know you can hear it, and all of this is heading your direction. So it's going to be a pretty stormy couple of hours for the Lakeport area and traveling up 78 toward Buckhead Ridge. Eventually, this cluster of storms will be heading toward the Buckhead Ridge area. Palmdale, you're likely going to be clipped by the southern side of this particular downpour. At least for LaBelle, though, conditions are improving there as those showers and storms are moving on through. And as of right now, Whitten Corner, Shawnee might be lucky enough to not get clipped by this particular downpour. A fizzling shower right here over Muse, no longer producing any lightning strikes. Down toward Hendry, just a couple of spotty rain showers to the west of Montura. Otherwise, Hendry County is fairly quiet at this point. And as for the threat for strong and severe storms, those will stay away from us and mainly affect the East Coast up to northern Florida. So North Florida, Central Florida, away from us, that's where we're going to be tracking that potential. So for our weather here at home, right around 7 p.m., here's a snapshot. The best chance for those isolated showers and storms staying inland, while the coastline stays on the quiet side, very similar to what we've been seeing basically going back to Monday. And then tonight, a little bit of a change up here. Could see a couple of spotty rain showers push through. So overnight tonight, isolated rain in the mix. Tomorrow morning, mix of clouds and sun expected, but really your first half of Friday should be just fine for outdoor plants. It's going to be very humid, though. You're going to be noticing those higher dew points building up from the south. So higher humidity, a muggier start expected, also a bit more cloud cover expected across southwest Florida, all ahead of an approaching storm system, a storm system that will bring all of us, including the coastline, a better chance for showers and storms tomorrow afternoon and evening. So heads up, from 4 to 6 o'clock, we're going to be dealing with some downpours here. Again, they're going to be hit and miss. Not all of us will be affected, but if you are heading out for your Friday evening, have the umbrella close just in case. Now, looking ahead to Saturday, as of right now, Saturday, the drier and hotter of the 2 weekend days. So if you want to make outdoor plans, you want to go to the beach, Saturday's going to be your day to do it. It will be breezy at times. We'll see some gusts 18 to 20 miles per hour, but the best chance for isolated showers and storms on Saturday will be away from the coastline and again, mainly affecting our inland communities. Then Sunday, all of us are up for widespread downpours. So Sunday is going to be the wettest day, not just of the weekend, but of my 7-day forecast. So for tomorrow, scattered storms in the mix. We'll head up toward 90 degrees before we get cooled down by those developing showers and storms. 30% rain chance Saturday, going up to 70% on Sunday.
Well, tonight, to burn the vegetation or not burn the vegetation, it is a dilemma happening on Sanibel as concerns grow over a wildfire sparking.
With so many dead plants, it's hard to try to find the safest way to clear it all out without trying to get those major fires. Coming up, we'll hear from Sanibel environmental experts who help us also learn about the risks.
It's Parkinson's Awareness Month, and coming up in today's Your Healthy Family, I'm showing you why the disease is so hard to diagnose. We're coming up on the end of Parkinson's Awareness Month. Parkinson's is a neurodegenerative disease that impacts a person's ability to move, talk, even think. And in today's Your Healthy Family, I'm showing you why Parkinson's is so hard to diagnose.
It was devastating.
Larry Sternberg says he can remember his heart shattering in a million pieces when his wife Karen was diagnosed with Parkinson's 15 years ago.
I thought this was the end of the world.
He says when Karen first told him about her issues with balance, muscle rigidity, and inability to focus,
I denied the fact that, she had anything wrong.
Mostly because her symptoms were subtle and could have easily been blamed on getting older, like other Parkinson's symptoms, falling more often, slowness of movement, urinary problems, or constipation.
Not sleeping very well or restless while they're sleeping. The reduced handwriting. Depression. I mean, we've all been through trying times the last couple of years. Who doesn't have a bout of, oh my gosh, I'm thinking twice about whatever's going on, things could be better.
Mary Scheffel, the executive director of the Parkinson's Association of Southwest Florida, says another reason it takes so long to diagnose Parkinson's disease.
A lot of the symptoms make people think of other diseases. They go to their doctor. The doctors are not that versed in the symptoms of Parkinson's. I can't even tell you the priority order because each and every person with Parkinson's exhibits their symptoms differently.
Even some of the more rare, surprising symptoms.
You can lose a sense of smell with COVID. It also is a symptom of Parkinson's.
Definitely a symptom I didn't know about. Now, coming up in tomorrow's Your Healthy Family, I'm showing you why Parkinson's is on the rise. I'm Lisa Greenberg, and to see all my coverage for Parkinson's Awareness Month, head to fox4now.com/yourhealthyfamily.
If you go to Sanibel, you'll see lots of dead trees as well as vegetation.
Yeah, now the challenge is whether or not to clear it out in order to prevent any kind of fire. But after the break, we will tell you it's not that simple. The solution, Sanibel, right now is looking in to fight future fires with prescribed burns after Ian.
And the project at Bird Store Road, all back open with Lee County saying it's going to be a big deal for the future. We'll hear from one commissioner about why this will be.
Dead debris on Sanibel Island is sparking fears ahead of a potential wildfire tonight. How fire crews and city leaders are coming together and finding solutions in a meeting with the community happening now.
Also, Charlotte County is hoping the people can plant new beginnings to make up for the trees that Ian took out months ago.
We know that if people do plant these right, they're going to have success with it.
Plus, a contractor arrested for fraud.
We have the latest from Cape Coral Police, who say that man took advantage of Hurricane Ian victims.
Live from Southwest Florida, you're watching Fox 4 News at 6.
And thank you for joining us for Fox 4 News at 6:30. I'm Nadine Yanis.
I'm Chris Earl. Happening right now at Sanibel, a meeting about prescribed burns. That meeting started an hour ago. Here's a live look at the stream coming from Ding Darling's Facebook page.
All to hopefully find solutions. Sanibel officials say the prescribed burns are needed since there's so much dead vegetation on the island right now. But those burns are causing experts to be concerned tonight.
There's never been as much dead vegetation on the island as there is right now,
which could fuel a wildfire if it came out. And it is also hard to navigate for fire crews tonight. So they are now looking at the possibility of prescribed burns here, Chris.
But the other concern is if you start a burn, lots of natural fuel at Sanibel, that could lead to a larger fire. Andrew Shipley's been looking into this, and he gives us a real deep perspective as a certified wildlands firefighter.
Yeah, that's right, guys. Dead trees and branches litter Sanibel's landscape after Hurricane Ian. Firefighters are warning fire season may become more active with the dead vegetation, the overall dry conditions on Sanibel. Now, I did speak to members of the Sanibel Prescribed Fire Task Force ahead of tonight's public meeting to address the fire danger and the steps they're taking to reduce that danger.
There's a lot of built up fuel, dry property, dry public land that we need to make sure we're keeping everybody safe.
In order to reduce some of that risk, the Sanibel Prescribed Fire Task Force is planning to burn 430 acres. That burn will also increase the health of natural habitats.
We want to burn the different part of the public land safely when we have the resources and the right conditions, so that we do not have a lightning strike in the summer, which causes a wildfire. So we don't have some sort of human use happen and it starts on fires.
Tony Westland with Din Darling National Wildlife Refuge said they will only conduct these burns if the right conditions are met.
Get out of prescription, the fire doesn't happen. And it can be right up to that moment. We can be in the middle of burning. And if we come out of prescription because the wind changes or something, we stop the burn.
While these burns are planned in areas that are known to be well maintained ahead of Hurricane Ian, much of the rest of the island isn't as fortunate.
Storm surge brought salt water over the top of the habitat, which a lot of the native grasses are able to tolerate, but we've lost a lot of that. These trees that we have everywhere, we're not able to tolerate it, so we have acres and acres of dead trees.
SCCF Wildlife and Habitat Management Director Chris Lekowitz says dead and fallen trees could create the perfect firestorm if not cleared out this spring or even the next few fire seasons.
Everywhere, it would create a fire that would be very intense, very hard to slow down.
As for the prescribed burns that are planned, Westland says they're waiting for the ideal conditions, but they're hoping to get it done ahead of rainy season.
So there's this timely area in which we have enough water on the ground, but we don't have too much water, and we haven't entered the lightning season with rainy season.
And rainy season in Southwest Florida typically starts late May to early June, but that also brings the highest risk of wildfires from the daily thunderstorms returning, as clouded ground lightning strikes can start fires, not just on Sanibel, but across Southwest Florida. In studio, meteorologist Andrew Shipley, Fox 4.
All right, Andrew. Well, we're going to move up to Charlotte County on a similar subject where the problem here isn't so many dead trees as it is trees simply gone after Hurricane Ian.
Fox 4 bringing you team coverage tonight on how Hurricane Ian has impacted our horticulture and the solutions to regrow our beautiful greenery back after Ian.
Yeah, so Fox 4's Colin Chavez is in Charlotte County tonight with how leaders there are actually giving away native Florida elm trees for free and for a reason.
The saying goes, the best time to plant a tree is
20 years ago, but the next best time is right now. And in Charlotte County, after Hurricane Ian destroyed so many trees, that's why this year for Arbor Day, the county is giving people 250 opportunities to get planting.
People are just devastated about the loss of the trees and the tree canopy.
The lush green scenes of Southwest Florida is now left broken and brown by Hurricane Ian.
In Northport, for example, they were numbering the trees, the stumps, and somebody said they got to over 3,000.
Alice White is a Northport City Commissioner and the chair for People for Trees, a nonprofit in Charlotte County whose sole mission is to protect Florida's native trees and educate people on their importance.
The fact that we're standing here in probably what's close to 90 degrees today, but we're in the shade, so it's tolerable.
And ahead of Arbor Day, people in Charlotte County seen using makeshift support systems like this one just to keep the shade in their yard after Ian.
It's almost a blank slate for replanting.
The reason Ralph Mitchell, the director of Charlotte County Extension, says the county is giving away 250 Florida elms at Centennial Park Rec Center on National Arbor Day from 9 to 1.
We know that if people do plant these right, they're going to have success with it, and we want a tree that's going to be sustainable on into the future.
And to ensure that future success, the county's helping you out.
It's time to prepare your tree for planting.
Requiring people to register online for the trees, complete with a how-to video so the Florida elms can flourish.
It will fit into almost any backyard, a four-shade tree.
Just like that song says, you don't know what you got till it's gone. People really have realized what they had with those trees.
And as a reminder, if you do want to get your hands on one of these trees, this is an event that you have to register online for before 7 a.m. Friday morning. In Charlotte County, Colton Chavez, Fox 4.
Last night on Fox 4 News at 10 and 11, we watched responders on Alligator Alley after a crash near the Miles City exit. Now the Collier County Sheriff's Office says 4 convicted felons were part of this. Investigators say the 4 men between the ages of 30 and 48 are now in the county jail on grand theft auto and other charges. Here's what they say happened. The 4 drove from Miami in a pickup truck and then stole a Ford F-250 truck in the parking lot of Corkscrew Middle School. That's East Naples. And then they drove to a gas station in Golden Gate and stole a keg of beer. These are grown men doing this, accused of this. Deputies spotted these stolen trucks speeding on Golden Gate Boulevard. They tried to stop it, but it never did stop. At least not until the deputies put the stop sticks down about 10 miles away on I-75 at the Miles City exit. That's mile marker 80. The driver, Yaniel Rodriguez, tried to run one officer off the road, but those stop sticks forced the stolen truck into the ditch. 2 of the men ran out, and 2 stayed inside to get arrested, but the 2 ran off, kicked, and fought deputies before all 4 were taken into custody.
Well, 3 families in Cape Coral are out thousands of dollars after police say a handyman scanned them. The contractor, police say, was hired to do work on homes after Ian, but once the victims paid that handyman, little to no work was done. Our housing reporter Caitlin Knapp is now live outside the Cape Coral Police Department because, Caitlin, this accused handyman was arrested but bonded out about an hour ago.
Yeah, he did. Detectives arrested Robert Doerr, the suspected ripoff handyman, yesterday after a pretty long investigation. Police say that it did take time to put everything together, and he was allegedly doing this before the hurricane even happened, but also is accused of doing this even after Hurricane Ian hit our area. This is a picture of the suspected ripoff handyman, Robert Doerr. And through this investigation, which also involved code enforcement, Cape Coral police say he took more than $20,000 from 3 families over the course of a year. At least one of the victims found him on Facebook and hired Doerr to repair their home or upgrade it. When no work was done or very minimal, victims went to police. The department said they were already made aware of him from code enforcement when red flags were raised about his license. Detectives started to connect the dots when others started to come forward. Police spokesperson Brandon Sancho says cases like this are happening more and more after Ian.
Especially after any type of natural disaster. That's why we continue to remind our residents, hey, you know, word of mouth to ask your neighbors, hey, who did you use? Are they a licensed contractor? We're not just using anyone from Facebook or Craigslist.
Doerr is facing a slew of charges, including exploitation of an elderly person, scheme to defraud, and grand theft. Police do not believe there are any more victims, but if you are one, they would like you to come forward. And today, I actually spoke to one of Door's victims who gave him $13,000 to do repairs, even as early as last year to do that. They said that they're trying to get their money back now. But tonight at 10, you're going to hear the message that they have for other people, maybe potentially in the same situation, and a message for the suspected rip-off handyman. Reporting live at the Cape Coral Police Department, Caitlin Knapp, Fox 4.
Thanks, Caitlin. Lee County and Cape Coral leaders out at Burnt Store Road today, just off of the road, to mark the official opening of a major project as it's finishing up. The Burnt Store widening project was a project Lee County's been working on for years. Fox 4's Alexander Ronhell shows us the upgrades expected to make that drive safer.
They were scared about speeding. They were scared about potentially head-on collisions.
1, 2, 3.
They also wanted to make sure that it was safe for people to walk along the side of the road. I think there had been in the past some folks who'd been hit by a car.
These are all concerns Lee County Commissioner Brian Hammond says people have about Burnt Store Road.
It was dangerous to even be on a bike. So now we have a walking place and a bicycle place. It's great.
Ralph Huber says the ongoing construction has been a headache, but
You put up with it because it's worth it.
what used to be a 2-lane dark road is now a 4-lane vibrant road, fully equipped with amenities for pedestrians like bike lanes, sidewalks, and underpass bridges. The project had been in the works since 2015, and funding came from several pockets.
The project came from the state, it came from gas taxes that people pay when they fill up at the pump, and also some of it, I believe, came from impact fees as well because the area is growing.
A growth Cape Coral Mayor John Gunther says they're trying to keep up with.
It's going to be a great improvement for the transportation needs of this area that's probably one of the fastest growing parts of our city.
We had before, but it also means a wider road that will serve as a hurricane evacuation route as the area continues to grow.
As workers put the final touches on this portion of Burnt Store Road, they're already planning ahead.
Our goal is to have this all the way out to Route 75, so I look forward when those projects are completed.
Reporting in Cape Coral, Alexandra Rangel, Fox 4.
A study shows that Florida pays teachers the third lowest of any state. Add in inflation, the impact is even more severe. Later here on Fox 4 News, we'll show you how far and how little a teacher's salary can go, and why some teachers say they're worried that even more dire situations are coming.
Another evening of inland showers and storms. We're closely monitoring these cells here in Glades County, one producing small hail heading up toward Buckhead Ridge. I'm breaking down where these are headed and when more of us here across Southwest Florida could deal with the wet weather. Next.
Now, despite recent teacher raises here in Florida in recent years, there's this new nationwide report that shows that Florida is still near the bottom for average teacher pay tonight.
Not only that, when adjusted for inflation, the National Education Association says that educators are making less money than a decade ago. Education reporter Stephanie Suskai from our Scripps station, West Palm Beach WPTV, takes a look at where the state stands amid the calls for change.
Florida continues to get a failing grade when it comes to average teacher pay. Now, according to new numbers from the National Education Association, Florida ranks 48th in the country for average teacher salary at a little more than $51,000. Leaders say that's because the more experienced teachers are not making what they say they're worth. If you ask a longtime teacher like Palm Beach Central High School's Scott Houchins, he doesn't do it for the money.
We do it because there's not only, the stability and the income, but there's intrinsic value to it.
But higher pay sure would be nice.
Those that are on the higher end of the scale tend to get either forgotten or they're not increased as much.
It's an ongoing problem in Florida. While we moved up to 15th in the country for starting teacher pay, longtime teachers say they're being left behind. Why is it so hard in Florida to pay those experienced teachers what they deserve?
There are over 20 different laws in Florida that govern teacher pay. Districts are really handcuffed in their ability to make sure they're addressing the needs of teachers in their district.
Andrew Spar, president of the Florida Education Association, says the issue goes hand in hand with the massive teacher shortage in the state, sitting at more than 5,200 vacancies. He says education advocates called on the legislature to take up the issue.
We have not seen legislation to address the massive teacher and staff shortage, or very little legislation that may help. But what we have seen is a lot of legislation that will arguably make it worse.
He wants to see stakeholders come together, release the restrictions that govern pay, and get teachers like Scott potentially more.
We really have to look at the veteran teacher, the existing teacher, those who've been teaching 10 years or more to increase that.
Before shortages get worse.
And turning to our weather now here across Southwest Florida, it's another evening picture perfect along the coastline. A bit breezy at times, but here we are looking live from Tarpon Lodge on Pineland on Pine Island, and overall really quite nice along the coastline. Farther inland, though, can't say the same. We once again have those showers and storms affecting Hendry and especially Glades. Now, before I zoom in here, I do want to point out that the severe thunderstorm watch that is in effect is for Florida's east coast, stretching up to central Florida and even into North Florida. That severe threat staying away from Southwest Florida this evening. But we are monitoring this powerhouse of a storm right now, moving up toward Buckhead Ridge. So here in Glades County, this is the only little section of our viewing area technically under that severe thunderstorm watch. But for Buckhead Ridge, we have half-inch size hail heading toward you right now. Very heavy rainfall, basically following 78 right now. But it is racing pretty swiftly off toward the north and east, around 25 miles per hour. So hail about the size of a dime, as well as very heavy rainfall and frequent lightning moving up toward Buckhead Ridge, also affecting Brighton Seminole Reservation. Farther back toward the south and west here, Palmdale, we do still have some of that light to moderate rain, and Lakeport, you're going to be hit by that round of rainfall as well, but at least not quite as strong as that cell moving over Buckhead Ridge. So other than the activity there in Glades County, conditions this evening will stay quiet, and even the storms that we do have inland will be fizzling out after sunset. So overnight tonight, not going to be entirely dry, however. I do have isolated rain in the mix for your Friday. A couple of showers expected to move through, but again, not worried about anything strong or severe, but just want to give you that heads up. Tomorrow, you're going to start to notice more moisture surging here into Southwest Florida. You'll feel it. Muggy air expected for tomorrow. That will also lead to a more humid start in the low to mid 70s. Quiet conditions are expected, but for the most part, I'm expecting more clouds than sunshine for your Friday. And then a bit of a change up for the afternoon and evening because of a bit of a wind shift. I'm expecting more of us for the afternoon and evening here in Southwest Florida to be dodging those raindrops. So basically from 3 o'clock onward, have that rain gear close for those scattered showers right here. Paused at 6:30. You can see the potential for some of those downpours right here over Lee County. Not worth anything at this point anything strong or severe, but just want to let you know that if you do have outdoor plans on Friday evening, you want to have that umbrella close. Then we fast forward to your Saturday. Saturday, by and large, the better of the 2 weekend days for outdoor plans. We'll have mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies, 30% chance for showers and storms. Best chance will be farther inland because by Sunday, all of us will be dealing with widespread rain as a cold front moves in. Those rain chances going up big time for your Sunday. But for tomorrow, scattered storms in the mix, rain chances at 40%. Again, that potential for all of us, not just inland, but also along the coast. Then for your Saturday, 30% rain chance, staying breezy. Storms likely with very windy conditions on your Sunday.
Two men from here in Southwest Florida could hear their names in the NFL draft, likely not tonight, but possibly by the weekend. First, Illinois defensive back Tavius Martin, who starred at Lehigh on the right, is projected second or third round, so that would mean he'd get drafted on day 2, so tomorrow. Now on the left, quarterback from Island Coast High School, Corey Curtis, walked on to Ohio State. Didn't play, but he transferred to Gannon University of Division II, and he's been lighting up the field for the past 2 seasons, so we'll see how the weekend plays out.
Yeah, we'll watch that. And you also want to watch us here on Fox 4 when football season starts as well. Until then, hopefully you'll watch us at 10 o'clock.
Multiple reports of an unidentified suspect exposing himself to young students going to and from school. Tonight, we're asking deputies about the pattern we're seeing in Golden Gate and what's being done to stop it.
And the DeSantis-Disney debacle reaching the governor on his trip overseas. Fox 4 tonight digging deeper to see if this feud could harm a potential presidential run for DeSantis. And a graveyard of trees, shrubs, and dead debris on Sanibel Island sparking concern during fire season.
The live meeting happening now as the island looks for solutions while Charlotte County residents are planting new trees to make up for what Ian took away.
Live from